Hey, it's Keza, also known as Skylar Loves Gory Movies. I am back with, and I know I'm a bit late doing this, but I'm catching up slowly but surely. It's day 7 of 31 Days of Favourite Movies Challenge. And before I even start, this is one movie that I have been absolutely, let's just say, very excited to review. And I couldn't do this review without putting this in it. I know it's a bit early to do it, but I'm going to get out the way. So, day 7 of 51 Days of Favourite Movie Challenge. The movie is from 1981. Huh? Did I hear you say the movie? Nope, it's actually The Burning. So, I'll run through the characters and then I'll go directly to the film. So, the special effects is done by, and the makeup is done by the one and only Tom Savini. Tony Maylam directed the movie. Brian Matthews plays Todd. Leah Ayres plays Michelle. Brian Backer plays Alfred. Larry Joshua plays Glazer. Jason Alexander plays Dave. Ned Eisenberg plays Eddie. Carrick Glenn plays Sally. Carolyn Houlihan plays Karen. Fisher Stevens plays Woodstock. There's also a cameo in there by Holly Hunter. And Lou David plays Cropsey. Horror sequences designed by Tom Savini and casting by Joy Todd. So, here we go. Movie starts off at Camp Blackfoot. A group of boys are planning something and shows the group what they have, so they all sneak out and go to another dorm. Then one boy goes in one entrance and the others sneak around the back. As the guy is laying in bed, the boy opens the box, lights a match, and then sneaks round the back, knocks on the window, wakes the guy up, sets him on fire, and then as they've set him on fire, the whole dorm comes alight. He runs out the dorm, rolls around, lands in the water. The other boys run off. At the hospital, they go and see the caretaker, who is severely burned. He grabs the man's hand, another doctor runs off. Then it's 5 years later. The man who got severely burned gets released from hospital and takes a walk and finds a lady and goes into her apartment and then turns off the lights. So he enters her house slowly, walks towards her and then strangles her and stabs her in the chest with scissors. She screams and he walks away. At Camp Stonewater, the guys are cheering while the girls play baseball. Two boys stare at the girl's butt. Then a guy comes over, plays with her hair and starts talking to her and asks her to be at the rec room for 8:30. They continue to play baseball until the ball goes into the bushes and looks for the ball, then finds the ball and goes back to the group. Then they all have something to eat and start to talk. Then back at the room where they're all sleeping. Then the next day, one of them wakes up and goes for a shower, starts to walk and goes to the shower room, undresses, takes a shower, and then there's a creak. She at first takes no notice, carries on with her shower. Then hears the noise again and calls for her friend, but no one replies. Then she screams and another girl comes to her rescue, saying that Alfred was spying in the girl's shower, and then he runs off. And then a male and female argue about the boy, and then they reason with each other, and the guy reasons with Alfred and gets his side of things, and then Alfred and tells Alfred if he needs someone to talk to, then he can talk to him. Then all the girls talk among themselves and tease Sally about Alfred. Then a boy threatens Alfred, and Alfred walks off, and Todd and Glazer start to argue, and they walk off. Then the boys make Alfred swim, so the other boys swim first, and then another boy pushes him in and starts to drown, and they get him out of the water. Then Glazer asks Sally out, but she declines. So the boy gets a pea shooter and hits Glazer in the arse, and the boys pull a Mooney, that means show them the bum basically, and run off. But the girls push Glazer in the water. Then the boys are playing poker when another boy comes in with a Playboy and Hustler magazine and starts to read. Then another guy gives Glazer a pile of condoms, but Glazer throws them back at them, as one, they're the wrong ones, and two, he refuses to pay for them. And Alfred sees a figure in the window, but when the others have a look, there's no one there. Then Todd comes in and tells them that dinner is served, so they go into the cafeteria, and Glazer chats up Sally, and she only says maybe, and one of the boys asks for his vitamin E and goes back to the dorm, gets it, and the guy tells the other kids about the 3-day canoe trip, but they're just ignoring them. When the boy gets back to the dorm, it's dark, and searches for the vitamin. It finds them in a trunk, and then hears a noise, and a shadow appears, but it turns out to be Todd. So they both head back up to the cafeteria. Then the counsellor finishes his speech. And while on the canoe trip, they're all having a water fight, and the girls shout at them saying, "You're canoeing, not fighting," and some of them fall out of the canoe. And then they sit around the campfire, and Todd is telling everyone a story about Cropsey and what happened 5 years ago, and what he and his friends did to him, and tells everyone that he's out there, watch out. So the friend Eddie comes out and scares everyone. So Eddie and a girl walk into the woods and start to make out. So she pushes him away and asks her to take a dip, so she reluctantly agrees and starts to undress, and comes in and starts to swim together, and they start to make out in the lake. She stops and storms off out of the lake as she's leading him on, and gets out of the lake, and her clothes are scattered around, and screaming, asking where her clothes are. Finds her shoes at first, then her underwear, then her shirt, and then all of a sudden her throat gets cut and dies. Then Eddie gets out of the lake, and two of the camp leaders are looking for Karen, but Eddie doesn't know where she is. A group of girls then shout that all the canoes are missing and can't find them either, and gather all up the campers to the corner where all the canoes are, and they start looking for the canoes, where the canoes are meant to be, but they start looking for the canoes. Then Michelle and Todd sit and talk, and they may have to build a raft with a load of wood. Then Glazer tries to make out with Sally. Then Sally walks off. The others are building a raft. Then Glazer is still trying it on with Sally, and Alfred is looking on. The raft is built, and a few of them with Eddie go back to the camp as they start to paddle away. And then they find a canoe, so they paddle to it. As they get closer to it, a man pops out and shears everyone to death. Then Michelle and Todd are still talking by themselves, and talk about how good the campers were building a raft. And then they both start to make out, then start to head back, and then Glazer and Sally start to have it off. But Glazer prematurely stops and starts to make out some more. Then Glacier leaves to get matches and leaves Sally on her own. Glacier goes off to get matches and Sally is under the sleeping bag, then screams as she's trying to fend off the killer. Meanwhile, Glacier gets the matches and Alfred runs to Sally, who appears to be sleeping, and tries to wake her up and gets killed himself with the shears. And Alfred runs off and Sally did eventually get killed. Then Alfred wakes Todd up and tells him that Glacier is dead, and then follows Alfred and finds Glacier dead. Then the killer runs after Alfred but can't find him. Meanwhile, Todd is dazed but is still alive. Michelle and the rest of the group see the raft. Michelle swims to the raft and Todd is running back to where everyone is. So Michelle gets the raft and sees everyone dead, starts to scream. The rest of the campers start to cry and Alfred is still running and is underneath the killer. So the rest get on the raft and start to paddle. Todd runs and finds Alfred and Alfred continues to run. The rest of them are still paddling and Todd is still trying to find Alfred and Alfred is still running. Shout for Todd. Meanwhile, the others make it safely back to the campsite and Michelle tells the leader that there's a killer out there. Alfred is still running and sits down and carries on running again. Michelle and the leader are on their way back for the others and Alfred is still hiding from the killer and the killer catches him and screams for help. Todd quickly runs after the screams and the killer has cut into his arm. Todd is still trying to find Alfred and goes inside and looks around, shouts Alfred but no one answers. Then Todd falls but gets back up, then continues to shout for Alfred and then gets a fright and walks around and goes up some stairs. Then a car tries to crash into him and goes out of the way and sees Karen dead. Then someone goes around with a blowtorch and reminds him about 5 years ago and sees the blowtorch coming towards him and tries to get away. Then carries on walking around and hears Alfred scream as he can't get free and goes towards the screams. Then sees the man's face and dodges the blowtorch and Michelle is shouting for Todd but no answer. Todd is defending himself from the killer. Alfred frees himself and ends up killing the killer. Then the helicopter comes and Michelle waves them down and Alfred and Todd escape. And Todd sees his past in front of him and both leave while the guy is burning. And then at a campfire, someone finishes off the story and basically that's the end of the film. Wow. My thought on this film, it's one of the best slashers out there. I know that, how can I explain this? I know that some campsite slashers are similar to Friday the 13th, but this is nothing like it. It's just totally different and I like the ending to it. And I just like the whole set to it, which is just different and it's worth watching. So, scoring wise, I have to give this maximum points because it's one of the best slashers out there. I give it 10 out of 10. No doubt about it. So, stay tuned in a bit. You'll hear day 8. Of course, stay gory, have unpleasant dreams, and I will definitely see you all soon. Ta-ta for now. Bye.